Thursday, February 16th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including a car chase through Darien last night, a Ridgefield native, a hero in Boston, and much more. Frank Granito has your Nutmeg sports update and a look at the forecast, and later on, Donald Eng joins us to take a look back on this day in history. But first, in Darien last night, a Bridgeport juvenile was taken into custody after a stolen car from Stamford was involved in a minor accident in Darien's Dunkin' Donuts on the Post Road. Other suspects who fled the area were not found by police. Stamford police were pursuing the stolen car, reportedly taken from a pizza delivery man on Henry Street in Stamford. That car then got off of exit 11 northbound on I-95 to the Post Road in Darien. Police Sergeant Jeremiah Marin of the Darien Police Department said Stamford police, with Darien police assisting, pursued the suspect on foot after they fled the scene of the accident. Stamford police, using canines, tracked one suspect, who the Stamford Advocate reports is a 15-year-old girl, to the corner of the Post Road and Mansfield Avenue. Darien police say there were other suspects who fled the scene, but you can check for updates at DarienTimes.com. And earlier this week, we told you about a Shelton College student who helped foil an art heist in Boston. Well, it turns out a Ridgefield High grad was also one of the students to help capture a thief. In less than a second, Ridgefield High School graduate and Boston University student Chris Savino decided to risk his life to do what's right. He was heading home after celebrating the Patriots' victory during the Super Bowl night in Boston when he and two of his frat brothers, Jesse Doe and Shelton resident Mackenzie Thompson, saw a man leaving the Galerie d'Orsay art gallery on Newbury Street, carrying $45,000 worth of paintings through a shattered glass door. As soon as Thompson yelled at the 29-year-old man, a chase ensued. The three of them ran until Thompson, who is 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighs about 200 pounds, caught up to him and pinned him against a mailbox. Savino grabbed the paintings and tried to flag down a police officer, which they did successfully. Police reports indicate that the perpetrator, Jordan Russell Leishman, was not armed but did have two outstanding warrants for assault and narcotics charges. Leishman was arrested by Boston police and is being held under custody without bond. There were no damages to the paintings, a Miro, a Rembrandt, and two Chagalls, but the gold leaf frames holding them will need $4,000 in repairs. Gallery owner Sally Hirschbig has invited the three BU students to an opening on Saturday, February 25th, and said each one can take a painting of their choosing. More on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. And in other news, a woman who gave birth on the side of a Connecticut highway was helped in part by a state trooper on the phone. State police say someone called 911 at about 1:30 in the morning Thursday to report that a passenger in the car stopped on the side of Route 5 and 15 in Hartford and was in labor. Trooper Chuck Lavoie to do, since the baby girl had already been born. Another trooper and medics arrived a short time later, and mother and child were taken to St. Francis Hospital and Medical Center. The Danbury News-Times reports that 24 city businesses will close today as part of a nationwide protest called A Day Without Immigrants, intended to demonstrate the importance of immigrants, documented or otherwise, to the U.S. economy. That day-long strike stems from a loosely organized campaign that spread state to state this week on social media and on Spanish-language television. A flyer headed Todos Somos Inmigrantes, or We Are All Immigrants, circulated in Danbury this week, listing 24 Latino-owned businesses that have decided to close their doors in solidarity with recent immigrants who fear deportation under President Donald Trump's administration. But let's switch gears now and throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. Breezy out today with wind gusts back up into the 30-mile-per-hour range. We're going to see intervals of sun and clouds today, along with a high of 36 degrees. Strong winds continue overnight, along with mostly clear skies, and a low of 21 heading into Friday morning. Clear skies and plenty of sun around the county tomorrow, but still chilly out with those winds carrying over from Thursday. Temperatures are in the high 30s during the day before falling into the low 20s overnight. Clear skies on Friday night before what should be a much milder and warmer weekend. An expected high of 49 degrees on Saturday with increasing cloud cover during the day. Mild out this weekend as temperatures will stay in the upper 30s overnight on Saturday before jumping all the way up into the 50s on Sunday with mostly sunny skies. And Kate, we should see this beautiful weather carry into the start of next week through hopefully Wednesday as we're looking at some warmer days coming up.
All right, looking forward to some of that snow melting, Frank.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Well, we are going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Eng takes a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and we have more local news after this.
We told Dad he could have his office back if he sold 150 cars last month.
Deal's a deal.
Well, Dad, you did it. You get your office back.
Forget it. I'm having too much fun down here. My new goal, 160 cars.
Wow.
Folks, if you ever wanted a great price on a new Nissan, now is the time.
Right now, lease a 2017 Altima 2.5S for only $99 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
It's all about meeting goals this year, and Trinity CrossFit of Ridgefield has experienced trainers, top-of-the-line equipment, and a newly renovated space to help get you there. Offering more classes per day than any other CrossFit gyms in the area, we cater to all fitness levels. Our coaches have a combined 10 years of experience in CrossFit, and as competitors themselves, Trinity coaches can get you ready for competition in 2017. Visit our convenient location on Route 7, Danbury Road, or find out more at trinitycrossfit.com.
Whether you're looking for the freshest seafood, the perfect steak, or want to share delicious appetizers, look no further than the Stone's Throw in Seymour. Chef Peter Hom has more than 30 years of experience creating original recipes in his American eclectic style. Our dishes are made from scratch with fresh, local ingredients that pair perfectly with a seasonal craft beer, a signature cocktail, or your favorite wine. When you visit our Riverside location, you'll feel like you're on vacation when you're only a stone's throw from home. Visit us on Roosevelt Drive in Seymour or at stonesthrowct.com. At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Wild Birds Unlimited, your one-stop shop for all your backyard bird hobby needs. Premium bird seed, freshly delivered each week. A great selection of bird feeders, houses, a patented pole system, bird baths, and a vast array of wonderful gifts of whimsy and nature. Visit us at 356 Heights Road in Darien, next to the post office, and across from Norotan Heights Railroad Station. If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached 1.7 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to this February 16th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. And it's time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Eng. Don.
Well, Kate, it was most certainly not the beginning of a beautiful friendship, but we'll get to that in a second. First, though, we go to 1960. The U.S. Navy submarine USS Triton begins Operation Sandblast, leaving from New London and presumably evading Russian spy ships offshore for a non-stop circumnavigation submerged. For the next 2 months, the sub never fully surfaced, although it did lift its tower out of the water to evacuate a crew member who had gotten kidney stones. The 26,000-mile voyage roughly followed the path of Ferdinand Magellan 400 years earlier. To 1968, Haleyville, Alabama becomes the first emergency telephone system to adopt 911. Now before that, you had to call local police department's main number or have the operator call it for you and then hope that you didn't get a busy signal or get put on hold. The idea had been around for 11 years that police and fire departments should have a dedicated emergency line and that the number should be standard across the country. Now believe it or not, the concept didn't really catch on until the 1980s, and the number 911 was chosen by AT&T because it was simple, easy to remember, and it could be quickly dialed on a rotary phone. 1978, speaking of rotary phones, the first computer bulletin board system is created by Ward Christensen. That's him there demonstrating it. He's an IBM employee who was home due to the Chicago blizzard of '78, and he decided to put together a system that would allow his fellow computer club members to communicate with each other via a central computer. Now, there really was no internet to speak of then, so you had to dial in via a modem, and only one person at a time could be on the board. Finally, now we go to 1959 for this.
I wanted to state very clear to the people of the United States that I came here with a sincere feeling of friendship, and because I wanted to tell the truth and to clear many things that have been told about the revolution. That is the idea. Have you agree?
Yes, that was Fidel Castro addressing the National Press Club and expressing his desire for friendship with the United States. That didn't actually come to pass. Castro became Prime Minister of Cuba on this day in 1959, following the overthrow of dictator Fulgencio Batista. Castro would turn Cuba into the first communist country in the Western Hemisphere, and over the next 5 decades would survive an invasion attempt, a missile crisis, and the CIA's obsessive attempts to assassinate him. That is your look back in history for today, February 16th, and I'm Donald Ng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, Ridgefield Superintendent Karen Baldwin got the district's proposed 2017-2018 operating budget under the state's 2.5% spending cap by electing to redistrict the town's 6 elementary schools to create an even 3-3 split between the 2 middle schools. Scotland, Barlow Mountain, and Ridgebury students will go to Scotts Ridge, and Branchville, Farmingville, and Veterans Park students will go to East Ridge. The move will affect 47 graduating 5th grade students this year and result in the elimination of 3 middle school teachers. It also means that the district will not have to close Scotland Elementary School, which the board had discussed several times over the last 4 months. But you can get more on the budget at theridgefieldpress.com. So it back over to Frank Granito now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Well, thank you, Kate. And it's obviously flu season right now around the county, but the upset bug was going on in boys basketball last night. We saw several playoff teams suffer tough losses as the top 8 seeds all shifting around. The HAN Network was live at Trumbull High School when number 1 Trumbull took on number 8 Trinity Catholic in a potential first-round playoff preview, but the big man for the Crusaders said otherwise as Dutrell Contavio and Dimitri Moyes went off, both of them scoring over 20 points in the Crusaders' 71-66 victory. Let's take a look at the highlights right now.
Good evening and welcome to the HAN Network's High School Hoops Night as we are at Trumbull High School getting our first look at the first place conference leading Trumbull Eagles while they welcome to town the Trinity Catholic Crusaders, who Trumbull Eagles starting 5 as a 3-pointer on the way, and it's good. First bucket of the night goes to Daniel Ruchalski. As Blake trying to split through the defense there. Alley-oop, and they got it! Moyes to Cantavio. Boy, can Cantavio get up. McGill turned this one over. McElroy with it, and he hands off to John Lynch. Lynch is going to put up a 3. Nothing but net. Trumbull in this second quarter is a 3-pointer on the way. Finds the bottom of the net. This time it was Cameron Blake. His first points of the night for the sophomore. It's another steal, though, as Galgano off to the races now. Williams giving chase, won't get there, and the bucket. McGill with the spin move, kick to the corner. Galgano for 3, knock it down.
All day. They're going to do this all night long, Frank.
66-59, a minute 30 remaining in this one. Foles spins inside, gets his own rebound. Timon Williams up off the glass, no good. Foles the putback and the bucket.
Huge bucket there.
And he gets them both to fall. No timeouts for the Eagles, so they have to run. Ruchalski quickly up court. Leaves for McElroy, who expands his range deep. No good. Foles got it.
They got to shoot it.
Ruchalski for 3. No good. Cantavio the board. And he's fouled. He'll go to the line to put an exclamation point on a huge Crusader win.
With the win, Trinity moves up into 7th place in the conference. They are 9-5 in FCI play. Trumbull at 12-2 has clinched the 1 seed. It helped last night, too, that both Wilton and Fairfield Ward fell, dropping them to 10-4 in conference play. Greenwich was a 68-58 winner over Danbury. They remain alive in the playoff hunt. Central picked up their 3rd win, a 70-68 victory over Stanford. Darien topped West Hill 59-42. Ludlow over Ward 55-49 in the Coaches versus Cancer Classic from Fairfield. McMahon topped Wilton 70-57, and St. Joe's 58 to New Canaan's 42. We'll have plenty more on the updated playoff standings, and we'll have a full breakdown of the girls' bracket, which is now set in stone this afternoon on a special Nutmeg Sports live from Greenwich's Dorothy Hamill Skating Rink at 3 o'clock. We'll be joined by Mike Cece of the Cardinals wrestling team and Connor Harkins of the boys basketball team, along with Coach Alex Lershin from the girls team as they get ready to take on the Simsbury Trojans live on the HAN Network at 5:30. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. Let's send it back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, according to the Easton Courier, two men from different perspectives, but with a common mission to beat the opioid epidemic, met on a recent Friday morning at the Easton Police Department to talk about the crisis. Former hotel executive Gary Mendel leads Shatterproof, a national nonprofit he founded to end the devastation that addiction causes families. Before joining the Easton Police Department in 2015, Chief Tim Shaw led the Bureau of Criminal Investigations, Narcotics and Organized Crime, and the Youth Bureau as the former assistant chief of the Stamford Police Department. Drug overdose is now the #1 cause of accidental death in America, recently surpassing car crashes. At least 3 Easton residents overdosed in the past year, although none of their deaths were in Easton. Last year, as the prescription painkiller crisis exploded in Connecticut, Shaw reached out to Mendel, a longtime Easton resident. That's because in the past, law enforcement focused on crime associated with addiction, but left prevention to others. Mendel has a personal stake in the venture. In October 2011, his son Brian took his own life because he could no longer cope with the stigma of addiction. But you can read more on that partnership in Easton at eastoncourier.com. And 2 Westonites have organized a local group in order to resist President Trump and his agenda for the country. Roger Longman and Lucy Tancredi have formed Indivisible Connecticut 4, or ICT4 for short. The group is a branch of the national movement called Indivisible and is open to all residents in the 4th Congressional District. More than 120 people filled the community room at the Weston Public Library on Monday for a meeting of ICT4. The group is new and has had only a few organizational meetings. Longman said the group is taking its lead from the Tea Party, which opposed President Barack Obama to express its opposition to President Trump. People attending the meeting in Weston included residents from Stamford, Ridgefield, Milford, Reading, Bridgeport, Easton, and Wilton. And finally, just before midnight on Valentine's Day, state police say a furry suspect led them on quite a chase on Route 8 northbound in the area of exit 35. A dog was first spotted strolling on the highway's median. Police say the trooper stopped his cruiser in the median, but the dog then ran. The trooper called for backup, and the suspect, described as being furry with 4 legs and a bushy tail, was last seen running southbound on Route 8 near I-84. As additional troopers arrived, the suspect continued to flee and eventually ended up in a hairy situation, stuck in the travel lanes on the upper deck of I-84 eastbound. With the assistance of 2 tractor-trailer trucks, the troopers were able to stop traffic on the upper deck and corral that suspect. State police say upon questioning, the suspect would only pant. However, troopers were able to positively identify her and turn her over to the custody of her parents. State police say on Facebook that the suspect was issued a warning for excessive deposit of fur by a canine. Well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, John Kovach, our editorial director, joins me, and we preview our front pages this week after this.
On time, done right, safe and reliable. MrHandymanCT.com.
Let our satisfied customers tell it.
I have called Mr. Handyman for every reason, every occasion, every broken item, every leak. They have bailed me out on many occasions, and I would recommend them to anyone.
For any project, large or small.
MrHandymanCT.com.
Have a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Basketball, hockey, skiing, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Recently renovated and home to one of Connecticut's largest indoor turf fields, InSports is a multi-sport recreation center providing state-of-the-art facilities for league play, camps, and youth programs. Sign your child up now for InSports Future Stars Basketball Academy, teaching skills on the basketball court for boys and girls ages 5 through 9. Visit InSportsCenters.com for more information on this 7-week program. And for adults, spots are also still available for our men's 30 and over and 40 and over leagues. Like and follow us on Facebook.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands at the President's Day event and Ram Truck Month, now through February 28th.
I'm Frank Granito.
And I'm Donald Ng for the HAN Network.
Tune in to Nutmeg Sports Monday through Thursday, where we bring you all the top stories from Connecticut sports.
From highlights to player interviews and expert analysis, no one gets you closer to Connecticut's games than Nutmeg Sports.
Nutmeg Sports, now Monday through Thursday at 2 p.m. on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of Your Coffee Break. I'm Kate Czaplinski with our editorial director, John Kovach, to preview our HAN Network front pages this week. John?
Lots of budget stuff, but a couple of stories that are a little out of the norm, including a Valentine occasion that this couple will remember for a long time. We'll start in Weston, where the front page of the Forum has a story on the governor's budget proposal, which means a $2.25 million hit to Weston. News that the police chief will be retiring. That's him with his dog. Kate will react to that.
Aww.
An anti-Trump group forming in Weston, and a look at a longtime journalist. All that in the Weston Forum.
All right, very cool. Well, I'm taking a look at the Trumbull Times. Some great snow day photos from last Thursday by Lisa Romanchik, and you know there was an incredible sunset after that snowstorm last week, which you can see captured there. And Donald Ng talking to Public Works about how they handled those back-to-back storms Thursday and into the weekend. First Selectman Tim Herp sending out his budget proposal. I'm sure it'll change much in the coming weeks, but right now taxpayers would look at about a 1.9% tax hike. Nichols Garden delivering flower arrangements for Valentine's Day, and a Trumbull student named to the Senate Youth Program.
In Shelton, we have a story about one of the firehouses, and there are cracks there in the equipment bay. A lot of talk about the need for work there. Again, no decision on the Shelter Ridge application, but a resolution supposedly close, according to Planning and Zoning. The superintendent of schools explains how they come up with the decisions on delays, cancellations. A third grader who really put her heart into a charity effort, and a couple that got married atop the Empire State Building on Valentine's Day.
All right, well, taking a look at the Ridgefield Press, of course, some more snow shoveling photos. And in news we just mentioned on Coffee Break, the school's opting to redistrict. You can get more on that in this week's Ridgefield Press. Ridgefield's tax base growing by almost 1%. And of course, a lot of towns saying this, but First Selectman Rudy Marconi, who is a Democrat, says he's planning to fight back against some of the governor's cuts in his budget.
I think you're going to see that a lot, and you see that here in Reading, where the school board approved a budget request that's 1/3 of 1% lower than last year's request. But those state cuts that were proposed, state cuts that were shifted onto the backs of municipalities, would cost Reading $500,000. A story you just brought us on the father who has a plan to address the opioid crisis that's torn so many families apart. Work has begun to fix the Umpawag schoolhouse where the roof there leaks, and the police in Reading will shave their heads if they can raise $2,500 to fight cancer.
All right, very cool. Well, taking a look at the New Canaan Advertiser, again, officials there saying that Malloy's plan could cost the town $5 million. Also in budget talks in New Canaan, capital projects are the key topic in a budget preview. And something we talked about with managing editor Michael Katarivas a couple weeks ago on CT Pulse, and that's this sober house that's moved into New Canaan. Well, neighbors have now filed a complaint, so you can get more on that story. And according to experts at Silver Hill Hospital, let your children experience discomfort and pain. That was in a building resilience forum that parents attended.
Kate, you mentioned how beautiful the sunset was after the storm a week ago today. And the Darien Times has a great photo by Lucia Zakowski of that. Two swans together having a little something to eat after the snow as the sun sets over Gorham's Pond. Beautiful photo there. A minimal increase in the Board of Selectmen's proposed budget. The school board approving a budget of $98.7 million. That's a 4.5% increase. Discussion of an alternative high school and Denim and Diamonds will be held on March 4th to raise money for the Darien Community Association.
All right, looking at the Wilton Bulletin, cute animal photo. We got some pigs rooting around at the snow-covered pasture at Millstone Farm. Now, there's new owners there at Millstone, but according to those owners, all the animals, the pigs and sheep, llamas and chickens, will remain under the farm's new ownership. Residents seeking a historic designation in the Bald Hill area of Wilton. And something we talked about on Coffee Break earlier this week, a colonial-era home was damaged by a tree limb over the weekend.
Monroe, another of the papers that had a tie to the Valentine's Day wedding atop the Empire State Building, and yet another town that will be hurt by the state budget cuts and the shifting of some responsibilities to municipalities. Monroe losing $7.2 million in that shift. And Animal Control in Monroe providing some tips for how to protect the paws of those beloved pets as they venture out into the winter.
All right, well, taking a look at the Milford Mirror now, we've talked about this couple that got married atop the Empire State Building. It's a cool story that Jill Dion put together. They actually were sweethearts in college. They separated, both got married to other people, divorced, and re-met years later. So kind of a cool story there. GoFundMe page set up for that Syrian family in Milford. Residents really showing their support there. And a new performance group spotlighting Veterans Memorial Auditorium.
In Easton, the long-debated Saddle Ridge development continues to be before town boards, and in this case, the developer may be forced to pay for an engineer on behalf of the town to oversee that project. We have a story we just discussed about the father working with the police chief in Easton on a way to address the opioid crisis. Restrooms coming to the fields at Morehouse, on Morehouse Roads, the playing fields there, and residents coming together to help an Easton mother in her fight against lung cancer.
All right, well, taking a look at the arts and leisure section this week, we have some cool stuff, of course, all the local events, a recipe for espresso-flavored cookies, and John, a piece by you about bringing the outdoors in.
A couple weeks ago, I had Chris Kegg, the owner of the Fly Fishing Film Tour. He's a Ridgefield resident. The Fly Fishing Film Tour will be coming to this area in Trumbull on February 24th. That will raise money for conservation projects all throughout Fairfield County, as it's hosted by the Mianus, Candlewood Valley, and Nutmeg chapters of Trout Unlimited. So it's a fundraiser for conservation. Some great shots there from the films that you will see. Chris was a great interview, and this is a written version of that interview. Really enjoyed that.
Right, and of course, Yankee Fisherman coming up at 1 o'clock today.
And we don't have this week, unfortunately, the beautiful images of the outdoors that we had when we had Chris, but it's such an important show to watch because so many people who are involved in hunting and fishing constantly say, particularly amid the state budget crisis, my license fees are being skimmed off the top. They're going to other programs. You might want to watch at 1 o'clock and see if that's really true, and some other things that could be changing with license fees, trout stamps, etc. in Connecticut.
That's right, John, and you'll also be part of Nutmeg Sports at 3 o'clock today, but let's throw it over to Frank Rodito to just give us a preview of what's coming up. Frank.
Still sounds like an exciting Joe, John, but as Kate mentioned, a busy afternoon for John and myself. We've got a live Nutmeg Sports from Dorothy Hamill Ice Rink at 3 p.m. Connor Harkins, Mike Cece, and a couple other Greenwich athletes we hope will join us. Then Simsbury at Greenwich girls hockey puck drop at 5:30, and we've got a busy Saturday coming up for you. The FCI quarterfinals for girls basketball. Games number 1 and 2 coming to you from Norwalk High School. Norwalk versus Ward at noon on Saturday. Trumbull versus Staples at 1:45. Then we're off to Ridgefield High School for games 3 and 4. Ridgefield and Stanford and Danbury at 5 o'clock. Greenwich and Ridgefield at 6:45. So that's how we get the basketball playoffs started.
Yes,
here.
it's going to be a busy Saturday, so we won't have coffee break tomorrow because we'll be getting ready for all the action on Saturday, so be sure to check it out. We will see you on Monday for your coffee break at 11. Have a great day.